All right. What's up, everybody? We are now live for the second episode of Swinging the Freaking Mace on Sunday. All right. So, this is going to build off of the previous episode from last week. So, if you haven't watched that one, then go over to YouTube because I can't post it on Instagram because it's a little bit too long. So go over to YouTube and watch that video, and then you'll have a basic idea of what's going on with the 360. And then this is going to build off of that from last week. So you'll need your sledgehammer or your mace, and we're going to get into it. All right, so if you're watching, try to follow along, try to practice, get yourself a hammer and see how it goes. All right, so we're going to start standing. And today we're going to start actually without using the hammer. You just put it to the side, and we're going to do like a little warm-up exercise or drill that is not only going to warm up your shoulders and your spine for the mace, but it's also going to help to understand the movement a little bit better in your body. Okay, and then the same 4 main points apply to this exercise, but I'm actually going to add a 5th main principle or concept that we think about when we're swinging the mace. Okay, so again, it'll be kind of a review from last week if you watched that video. So we start with your feet under your hips or a little bit wider, and the first thing to think about is keep your feet rooted down. All right, and now this exercise is called the elbow drivers. So we start in your order position with your arms, with your forearms like parallel to the ground, and then your elbows in close to your side, not sticking out, but elbows in close. The elbow drivers. And just like with the mace, now if you turn towards your right, you keep your toes forward, but you're just turning your body towards your right, then take your right hand behind your head. Then you go hand to the back of your neck and elbow close to your ear. Okay, then we drive your right elbow across towards your left hip. Boom. And now the last thing is to stand tall. Don't bend over and lower your head down. So you stand up tall. And now you're turned towards your left. So you take your left hand behind your head, hand to the back of your neck, elbow close to your ear, and drive your elbow across your midline. Right hand behind the head, drive across, stand up tall the whole time. And you slow it, or you start really slow, and then gradually pick up some tempo with it. Okay, but the same things to think about. A lot of people will like pull their head down. Okay, so don't do that. Hand behind your head, elbow close to your ear, and you drive just your elbow, arm across, but that's going to twist, turn your whole body to the side, and your toes are forward. Don't let your feet shift around. Even in like on some soft earth, like in the sand, you keep your feet rooted down. Okay, and then we go elbow drivers. So back and forth. Once you kind of get the coordination, you stand up tall. Your center is facing forward the whole time. But you're just rotating, creating this twist, and moving your arms. And then as you kind of figure it out and pick up the coordination, then when you speed it up a little bit, then you don't have to maybe lift your elbow quite so high. At first, it's good to practice all that. But when you add some tempo, and you can just hand behind the head and drive across with the elbow. All right. So we go forward first, but then we switch it up. So now turn towards your left, and now your right hand, like you're combing your hand through your hair, up, and now your elbow drops over to your right side. Then your left hand combs through your hair, and we drop out to your right. So it's the same thing, but in reverse. Doesn't have to be a big twist to the side, but you're turning, and then your arms, your elbows are leading the movement. but you're rotating your spine, so you're working your core the whole time. And it's the same kind of movement as we start swinging the mace, the hammer. So it's a good warm-up drill and a good one to practice the actual movement. All right. Yo, the boys, you better have a hammer. Let's go. We're about to pick it up. We just did our little warm-up, the elbow drivers. And now we're going to get into the actual implement here. Okay? And like I said, in whatever post, we're going to do a transition. You're going to learn a transition today, and then also a technical pickup of the mace. So you might be like, well, if it's pretty light, maybe 6 pounds, I have an 8-pound sledgehammer, even 10 pounds. You can kind of just pick it up and get it to your order position. You swing and lift it up. There's lots of different ways to get it here where we're going to, your order position. But the technique is important if you're trying to increase the weight and swing heavy with good technique to keep your body safe and move efficiently so you can actually like get stronger and continue to progress in the practice. So we start with the basic technical pickup, which is very similar to like a kettlebell swing, hip hinge. So we'll start going your non-dominant hand on the end of your handle and with the weight in between your feet. And now your feet about shoulder width apart still. Now you hinge forward, and when you grab your weight here, the grip is important. So we go palm down, thumb up, and you grip the front of your mace or front of your hammer close by the weight, close by the head. Okay, so turn this way. And now just like a kettlebell swing, we pick it up, swing back, and then hinge your hips up and lift it straight up towards the ceiling or towards the sky. Lift it up, and then we catch. So you kind of float it up so you can catch it in your bottom hand, and then the top hand reconnects, and we're there. So you're like, well, that's pretty simple. It is pretty simple. But if you have like 30 pounds or 40 pounds right here, then you're not just going to be able to bend over and like pull it up. So you got to get more technical with it. And that's why practicing this hinge basic lift is a good first technique. So we hinge forward and you go palm down, thumb up. Why? Because if you go palm up or palm down, so if you do the opposite and you go palm facing out and your thumb down, this is how you hyperextend your arm. You swing back, and as it gets heavier, you give yourself an arm bar right here. Just like when you're swinging heavier kettlebells, it's the same grip. You go thumb down so that when you swing back, your arm can bend under. And then we lift up. Okay? So don't grip it out with your thumb down. Boom. That's how you hyperextend your elbow. You go thumb up, palm down, and take the front of the weight. Swing it up. All right. So now next thing we're going to talk about is the grip. As the grip's important here. So when you have, first of all, whatever tool you have, you wrap all of your fingers around the handle, okay, including your thumb. So a lot of people, or some people might think, stick your thumb up here. We don't want to do that. You wrap your thumb around the handle. So everything's closed grip. And now you got a firm grip, but also kind of relaxed through your hands, your fingers, and your wrists. But then the other thing to think about is especially your top hand, this pointer finger, index finger, you got to keep that one tight into your handle, because that one, and maybe even your middle finger, the second one, kind of start to loosen up, but you want to keep them tight. You're working your grip strength the whole time, and by keeping just those fingers connected and intently, like consciously gripping your handle, then you're using the musculature all the way through your wrist, forearm, up your arm, and into your torso. So you're using the whole chain. Just starts with your hands at the end. Okay, so now if you have an actual sledgehammer, the handle's a little bit like, it's not a perfect circle. It's got a little flat spot. It's more like an oval. Okay, so just to be specific here, you want to wrap your fingers around the curved edge. You got more of a flat edge and then the curved edge. So you want to wrap your fingers around the curved edge and more of your palm on the flat edge. And then that's also, when you're swinging it behind you, going to send it more to the side instead of like this, which would be increase your chance of maybe a collision. So this way is going to be more aerodynamic anyways, like you're supposed to swing the hammer, and it's also going to be better grip in your hands. Okay, then the last thing to think about is to keep your wrists firm and your wrists straight. So don't be soft wrists. And then when you're standing in your order position and you have your forearms pretty much parallel to the ground, is what we're going towards, then your arms are basically going like perpendicular directions. If you were to keep extending out from your hands, you're crossing your arms like at almost a perfect perpendicular angle there, instead of having like more parallel forearms, right? You keep your elbows in close and forearms parallel to the ground, right? Feet planted. And now we start with your dominant hand on top. And then also, just when you're swinging, it's not only we're learning with your dominant hand on top, but we do both sides, okay? But whichever arm is on top of your mace, regardless, is the side that you that's your sense of direction. Like that is the dominant side in the swing. So if you have your left hand on top, then all of your techniques, your 360, your reverse 360 will be according to your left arm on top, okay? So with that being said, you really want to make sure that your top hand has like the full grip on your mace. And we're just learning everything. So it's important to have both hands firmly gripping the handle. But over time, as you practice and progress, you'll be able to lessen the grip with your bottom hand and then keep more in your top arm and top hand to start to work on like your single arm 360s and some different techniques where you just slowly decrease a little bit of grip and tension with your bottom hand, and then it's all more in your top arm. Right? So that's why top index finger and middle finger stay tight to your handle. Wrist straight. Okay, so that's what we needed to cover with the grip. The details are important, especially when you're going heavier and trying other techniques. Okay, so now let's just review last week, our full 360. I'm going to mirror in this video so that I'm right hand dominant. So I got my right arm on top for all intents and purposes in this video. And now the same 4 principles, but now, like I said, I added a 5th. So we got 5 main things to think about when we're swinging the 360, the first basic fundamental swing. First thing, toes forward and your feet rooted down the whole time. Okay, so now we're going to do the kinetic swing where we connect it to your body. So we turn towards your mace and we go top hand, opposite shoulder. So for our basic 360, whichever arm is on top, you're going, sending the weight over your opposite shoulder. So your right hand's on top, we're going over your left shoulder. So you turn towards your mace and then connect to your body. Now we lift up above your collarbone and then bend your arms. And now this is where you want to think about keeping your wrists like more straight. And when you're doing the swing, it's all makes more sense, or you figure it out as you go. But now we create the box where we bend your arms, create this nice 90-degree angle with your arms. And now we push over the shoulder until we let it swing, and then head goes through the pocket. Now hands to the back of your neck. Second most important thing, hands to the back of your neck. Third, elbows close to your ears. Fourth, we drive your elbow across. That's where the elbow drivers drill is good practice. We drive that top elbow across your body, and we come back to here where you're like playing the flute, box, and this is when we would be pulling back over and then catching at center. So we turn towards the mace, kinetic swing, slowing it down. We push, swing, then pull and catch. And that's what a helpful mantra also that I wanted to share with you today. So you do your kinetic swing as much as you need to feel comfortable, where it's connected to your body most of the time. When we go back here, so we go back, hands to the back of your neck, elbows close to your ears. And then the weight swings across, and we drive your elbow across, pull, and catch. Okay? So the mantra, push, swing, pull, and catch is what's happening here. And it all happens kind of fast, but that's helpful to think about. Where we go. Now we'll go without the kinetic swing, full 360. Here we go. You're sending your weight over, opposite shoulder, top hand, weight goes over opposite shoulder. So you turn, then push, swing, pull, catch. Push, swing, pull, catch. Push, swing, pull, catch. Toes forward, feet stay rooted. Hands to the back of your neck in the critical spot when the weight's behind you, and elbows close to your ears. Then drive your elbow across the top arm. And then the last thing, the fifth thing, is to stand tall the whole time. This thing's trying to pull you down. You're standing up against this force trying to pull you down. You hinge a little bit, especially as you pull over. You kind of dive forward, but you immediately stand back up when you catch and have it back at order. And then, like I talked about last week, strict order, forearms parallel to the ground. But as you're doing your swings, you lower your hands really, really low, like lower so your forearms are not parallel to the ground anymore. Your hands are below, like your hips even. And that's going to give you more control when you keep the weight close in and your hands lower. Okay? Now, strong legs. Squeeze your glutes as you're swinging. You're bending your legs. You shift your weight. Definitely shifting your weight from side to side. So your legs are bending, but you're squeezing the glutes also. Okay? So, maybe like if you're with me and you're actually swinging, maybe just get a few good reps in there. And now today we're going to practice your non-dominant side, the other side, but we got the transition. Okay, so this is another learning opportunity where we go technique here. Elbows in close, so you bring it back to order, swing, bring it back to order. Okay, now when you're switching hands, we go bottom hand to the top and then slide down. Pretty simple. So now you have your opposite hand on top, and then you switch. So now you're turning to the other side because you go top hand, weight goes over opposite shoulder, top hand, opposite shoulder. Turn towards the mace, push, swing, pull, catch. Hands to the back of your neck. Really important to let your arms bend and get your hands to like the back of your shirt, or the top of your shirt, back of your neck. Elbows close to your ears, and drive your elbow across. You stand up tall. So then you try, this side is your non-dominant side, the awkward side. So you try to practice. Rep it out. And then it's reps. You got to put in the reps, just like anything. So eventually it feels not so awkward and maybe becomes more of a dominant side all of a sudden, because you got that really good technique on this side. And you're not trying to muscle it, and you're keeping your feet rooted, you're bending, your push, swing, pull, catch, hands to the back of your neck, elbows close to your ears, and we drive your elbow across and stand up tall. Okay? So practice that one, but then we're going to revisit the transition. Okay? And we got some different variations. So just the main transition is here. Bottom hand to the top. Why? Because that's the hand that we need to switch to make it the top hand. But it's also then going to give you the hand that is still on the handle. When you take your bottom hand off, now you have just a little bit more support because you're not at the very bottom. It's not that you couldn't hold it down here, but just for the sake of our technique, we practice the bottom hand comes up to the top, and then you can slide down. Then this is the first one, and this is a good drill where you switch and then swing, come back to order, bottom hand to the top, adjust, slide down, and now go other side. Swing, come back to center, bottom hand to the top, slide down, swing. All right, number one, just a basic switch of your hands where you get the top one, but you're being very mindful and technical and thoughtful about what you're doing every rep. Okay, and now second one, number two, now we go bottom hand to the top. Whichever side you're on, you just gotta adjust. Bottom hand to the top. This time bring your weight to same side shoulder. Okay, and now new position. The bottom arm, or the hand that's on the end of your handle, you try to straighten that arm out more. Not completely, but you try to straighten that arm out more. And then the hand that's close to the weight, you bend that arm. Your elbow sticks out, and we keep your wrist straight, especially on the top one by the weight. So now we call this position, and your weight is, and your tool is close to your body. You're not reaching out. You're keeping it in here. Now here we call this top body, or excuse me, cross body top position. Cross body top. Now when we switch, cross body bottom. Now the hand that's close to the weight, your palm turns out. And now the hand that's at the bottom of your handle, you bend your arm and you keep that wrist straight. And now it's like a curl, just like a basic bicep curl, where you curl back up to your shoulder. Okay, now set it back at center, order, slide your hand down, 360. Boom. Bottom hand to the top, cross body top, cross body bottom, curl it up, cross body top, back to order, 360. Boom. Then we're working a drill. Bottom hand to the top, hand to your shoulder, cross body top, cross body bottom, curl it up. The heavier it gets, the more that's going to be a significant movement. Order position, 360. Okay, now last one. Throwing a lot at you, but really we're just refining the 360, and now you got a little drill and transition. Okay, so the third variation, same thing that you're doing, top or bottom hand to the top. We go cross body top, cross body bottom, and now it's more of a dynamic, almost like throwing it over your opposite shoulder. You're going over your opposite shoulder, and then you slide your hands down more dynamically, and 360. Okay, so this one's like boom. Then you come back to order, bottom hand to the top, curl, and then you kind of just toss it over. But then you make sure you're set. You make sure your hands are set, bottom hand to the top, cross body top, down, curl it up, boom. Okay, so then you can work that one back and forth. Good drill, takes lots of focus and just coordination from side to side. Every single time you swing the 360, your hands are crossing midline. Huge coordination in your brain. It's not something that we think about, especially if you're young and healthy. But man, as you age, old people, even just the elbow drivers at the beginning, that is not an easy movement. Okay, so maintain it while you got it. And here, going back and forth. So you're kind of tossing it over or stay with one of the first ones. Bottom hand to the top, slide down, swing. Bottom hand to the top, slide down, swing. Number 2, bottom hand to the top, cross body top, cross body bottom, curl it up, just slow it down. Swing. Cross body top, cross body bottom, curl, order, swing. And then number 3 is more of our dynamic toss. Curl, and then toss. But you're aiming, you got to be, and that's definitely more advanced, because then you got to be real comfortable with where you're sending the weight over your shoulder and then letting it swing behind you. Okay. So let's think about just some good practice at home. Last thing. And that is reps. Just practice, and get the reps. High repetition. That's why you start lightweight. Like even 10 pounds. I was not swinging 10 pounds for a few months since I'd started. You just got to start to get it ingrained, like muscle memory, but also in your connective tissue and your fascia and skeleton, just the actual mechanics of the movement. And then you slowly build the endurance, and then you can start to increase the weight, and your body is going to be ready for it, not going too heavy too fast. So I think a good practice would be to try to do like 50 reps with right hand on top, and then 50 reps with your left hand on top, and just keep repping the 360s back and forth, where you're almost, with our 360, the weight. All right, remember your pickup also, both sides. Up. And now your 360, you're basically like moving. It almost doesn't stop moving the whole time, but you still want to be in control. You never want to feel like you're going chaotic, out of control. But you're almost like you're moving the weight the whole time. So then when you're trying to do 25, or if you can, 50 on each side, and you're just going back and forth. Okay, you get in that flow state and that rhythm. And so you do 50 right hand on top, 50 left hand on top, just our basic 360. And then I would say practice that transition back and forth, one of the 3 options, for like, set a timer for like 3 minutes or 5 minutes. And then you're just going back and forth with that one, where you swing, boom, bottom hand to the top, cross body, curl, swing the other way. And so you're just going back and forth. It really, really works your brain, not just body, but also brain. So that's going to be the best. That is your homework. If you're with me and you're indulging in the Sunday swings, then 50 reps, right hand on top, 50 360s, left hand on top, and then try to go 5 minutes with that transition switch, where you're doing the curl and switch. Do it every day, and then by next Sunday, you will be way further along. You'll be totally different than you are today. You'll feel totally different. You'll be able to swing totally different. Your shoulders are going to feel good. Your spine's going to start feeling good. So I hope that was helpful. We're going to leave it at that, but I got a good plan for the next few weeks. next week, we're adding on. We're going to start to practice the reverse 360. Same thing, we just switch everything up, okay? But because we focus on the top arm as the dominant arm in the swing and in the movement, when we go top hand, opposite shoulder for the basic 360, that's one direction. But then when we go reverse, top hand, same side shoulder, it's just a slightly different mechanic through your body, through your skeleton and your shoulders and your spine. And so it takes some practice. So next week we're going to hit the reverse 360. But in the meantime, every day, you're okay to do this every day. It's not like crazy hard on your body. Of course, if you feel really sore and you need to rest, then rest. But you're safe to try to practice some 360s every single day until we meet again next Sunday. All right, once again, my name is Brier King, and it's great to be with you guys. Hope everybody has a freaking fantastic week. Much love. Until next time.